And thank you guys for attending the the West March BoD June meeting. We do have a quorum today. We do have an individual who is unable to make it, and that is Jose Chavez. I motion that Victoria Kathleen be given voting rights for this meeting. May I request a second?
Second.
I would like to say, Ariana Hale, welcome to your new power. Please abuse it.
Will do.
I rode these coattails all last week, so.
There you go. We have several Monarchy members in attendance. Thank you very much for showing up. If you have to go at any point in time, no big deal. Would anybody be against me reading last week's minutes?
Nope.
How about last month's?
My apologies.
I was about to say last month.
I mean, you can read last week's, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty
I'd
blank.
rather you read last week's. They'll probably be shorter.
Yeah. All right. So this agenda was from the 55th of 17th of 2023. Actually, you guys probably can't see this. Let me share the correct screen. Da, da, da. All right. Can everybody?
55th?
New share. This one. Share. All right. Can everybody see the minutes?
No.
Yep, Jeb present.
I'm driving.
Let me try this again.
I was seeing it.
All
I
right.
was seeing the very top of it, but the rest of it was clipped off.
All right. All right. Can we see Amp Guard agenda? There we go. Okay, we're good. All right.
I can see down to Andy Brown,
Okay.
and that
Well,
is the bottom of my screen.
I haven't scrolled past there yet, but thank you.
Okay. Just
All
making
right.
sure.
Thank you. All right. This is from 55/17 of 2023, and we are using a foreign calendar. Don't question it. This meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. in the name of our Lord, PTSD. Brain Olette was present. Rose Brown was present. Paul Wilkins chose fighter practice over us. Andy Brown was present, and so was Jose Chavez. The wonderful Victoria Hale was technically here in spirit. Cindy Marie, Chris Sapp, and James Anderson were all present. We approved the minutes. Thank you, Rose, for pushing that along. We talked about the nonprofit discount at the King City event site. We thought it was really cool and thought it might be a good idea to look into it. We complained that some members of the BoD didn't have access to Westmart documents and hoped that we could potentially get folder access. We talked about a bilingual waiver. Alonzo Chavez and Alex potentially will bring that up, although the individual who is supposed to report on it, Jose Chavez, may not be here today. The Paragon Circle has been permanently tabled until we actually get some information. We talked about making more SOPs, which is going to be a process throughout the rest of the year. And we did a cool bank account update. Thank you to the extensive amount of work that Cindy has been doing. Thank you for that. We did discuss scroll making. We will have more information on that moving forward. We brought up our first complaint of the year about attendance versus land status. And again, I encourage everybody to send us information if they want to have it discussed. Taxes. We got that done. Boom. Digital waivers. We're working on it. It's coming. You just wait. It's going to be fabulous. We talked about trademarking the West March logo until people rudely asked Brian for clarification on things. Still hate you all. We had a brief follow-up on AmpGuard International, and we talked about the 501c3, which we expect we will still be discussing. Then we did the best part of the meeting, which was the adjournment. Is everybody okay with the meeting minutes?
Yes.
All right.
Great recap.
I moved to correct several spelling errors.
I moved to ignore the spelling errors unless we have to submit to the bank because I don't care.
I second what you said. All right, can everybody see the itinerary?
No. I can see Discord.
All right.
I mean, I can because I have it up on my own screen.
Thanks. All right.
That was the question he was really asking.
Now we
though.
can. It's good now.
Yep.
All right. All right, so we're going to do a roll call. Andy Brown, are you here?
Present.
Brian is here. Wait, sorry. Not B-R-A-I-N. Brain. There we go. Jose Chavez is not here. Paul Wilkins, are you here?
Physically, but emotionally, not as much.
I was hoping for some type of response at that capacity. Rose Brown, are you here?
Yeah.
Victoria Kathleen, are you here?
Present.
Thank you. Dagger is gone. Is he? Is he?
I'm here.
Oh, we have several individuals in here. I'm going to go ahead and put Ethan with permission.
Sounds good.
Maybe not under Monarchy members, though, unless they're Monarchy members.
I am, in fact, a Monarchy member.
Okay.
Not Kingdom.
Not Kingdom, though. Yeah, what type of monarchy are we talking here?
I believe that is Kingdom Monarchy.
Yes, because certain Kingdom Monarchy members are automatically part of the BOD.
Guests and Monarchy members in attendance.
Okay, that works.
I will get your real names later. All right, we read the last meeting minutes. Let's move on to June agenda. All right. Hi, I am Milan. Starting in March, I had a health issue occur, and I wanted to bring it up because March, April, and May, I really wasn't as prepared for these meetings as I normally would like to be. I have been a reasonably healthy individual for the vast majority of my life, but this has hit me pretty hard, and I'm still recovering. And so you may have heard me like slurring my words during the meeting, or like not listening, or stepping away from the computer. That is all me, and I apologize. I am working on my health. Thank you, Frankie. I actually knew that. I don't know why I forgot. Yeah, so I am starting to get better, but I'm still going to the doctors once a week. And so if you're like, man, Brian seems to be lagging, that's why. And I'm owning it, and I promise as soon as I'm trying to get there, I'm just not there yet. So that's me giving a stupid excuse for being a little lazy lately. All right.
Brian, I would like to state that if this is you lazy, you must be extremely motivated normally, because you seem more like into stuff than most people otherwise.
Hey, if you want to keep giving me compliments, I'm all about it. But yeah, I really just want to be super clear. Like, if I like forget something, or if like I'm having difficulty speaking, it's health related. It's nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ignoring you. Like, it's all right. All right. So moving on. Cindy, are you able to hear?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. I want to talk briefly about the Westmarch Square account, as well as the Linktree, as well as the PayPal. If it's okay to ask, do you have any information on the percentage that Westmarch is charged at events like Feast of the Gods and Dark Shore, as well as Midrain, and other events where we accept funding? We are getting charged a percent on those charges. And Andy, I'm going to ask you to tap in on this too, because you're familiar with PayPal and how there is a charge to use PayPal. Should we get our own Square account? Is Square a more affordable option vis-a-vis 1.8% versus the 3.5% PayPal is charging us? And is this something we should discuss?
So I don't know percentage-wise about Square, but I know PayPal charges anywhere from 2.7% to 3%, something like that. It's somewhere in that range, depending on the type of charge that's coming through. Just in general. So, but as far as like Dark Shore, so this past event, a lot of that was going through somebody's private PayPal account for their business. So they got charged on the front end, and when they transferred it to us, we got charged on the back end. So we got double charged. So I'm going to say anywhere from 5 to 6% total between that account and our PayPal account.
Why was someone's personal account used?
That is a good question. I do not have an answer.
So looking,
go for it, Andrew. Sorry.
So looking at the information that Cindy and I did get from Dark Shore so far, it's not fully compiled yet, but I have a lot of raw numbers. It looks like just on their side only, they got 6.2% charged on PayPal fees and 2.9-ish% on Squarespace fees.
And that's where this conversation arose. It's important to note, Dark Shore, from what we know, was probably profitable. If you can throw a LARP event and become profitable, you deserve the biggest of high fives, the highest of fives. This is just discussing a potential nuance where we can potentially cut down on fees we're paying. I want to be super clear that this is not an attack on anybody.
So one question that this brings up to mind with me is it sounds like the PayPal is being used, and is it that they used their personal PayPal to like pay for stuff for the events and stuff? Or did like the players pay into their PayPal and then they switched it to Westmarch's PayPal for like at the end? Or how did that work?
Yeah, so I only had a chance to look at it a little bit today. Basically, the PayPal account was being used for taking in the credit payments, people that were using debit cards or credit cards or whatever to pay for the event. And then some of the money was redistributed to people for reimbursement, from my understanding. And I'm not sure if everybody was reimbursed as they were supposed to be. I was not involved in that part of the financials that were happening behind the scenes with the Dark Shore funds. What I got were the final cash and the final PayPal electronic payments. That was it. That's all I got.
And there's absolutely no deadline on any of this, obviously.
I'm sorry, say again. I didn't hear.
There's absolutely no deadline on running through any of this, obviously. There's nothing in the Kapora that says it needs to be edited or anything. The fact that you're working on it on your free time, unpaid, is very kind.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to sort through the Excel that they sent to me to understand where the money came in and went out so that I can have more of a, I'd prefer to see more of a ledger than just a, grouping of this is how much cash we got, and whatnot. So it's not clear to me. So I don't think it's going to be clear to anybody else looking at it.
Yeah. As a question, just in general policy, does anyone know when people are purchasing stuff that are like fundamental things used for these events, is that being up to the event runners to like figure out how to find reimbursement? Because that confuses me, seeing as Westmarch is supposed to, as far as I've heard, have dedicated funds for the event. I would think they'd just get reimbursed out of that.
So the way that it's been going is whenever they go for payments, we transfer it to basically the event fund. And I believe you transferred it to them via PayPal, right, Cindy? Is that what we did this year?
I did not send any money to them, so I'm not sure how they got the money. So it may have been before my time.
Yeah, I believe it might have been the first thing that happened because there was a request for payment by us to the county of Monterey at the last minute where we had to eat a $75 credit card fee.
Oh, yeah. For that, yes. But for all the other expenses for Dark Shore, other than the actual park reservation, they didn't come to me for. So that was
Perfect.
before me.
I really want to put on record, and I want everybody to remember this and hopefully support Westmarch in this. We need a proper SOP on how to request funds and how to use funds and deadlines for requesting funds, because people are just arbitrarily asking for money out of the account, and that's fine. But it takes transparency and it takes security and just throws it out the window. There's no accountability. There's minimal accountability for Westmarch funds, in my opinion.
It also makes me like worried that event crats are like having to fund stuff themselves and or having to like run around trying to find funds, which seeing as we have funds that are supposed to be set aside specifically for the events, like they shouldn't have to be doing that. They should just be able to be like, here's a list of what is needed and their estimates. Give us the money. If it's over, we'll request additional money. You know, like they shouldn't be having to figure out how to buy hundreds of dollars of stuff themselves and then request money, you know.
The Westmarch champion ponied up money for Dark Shore because funds need to be covered, and I did not see a reimbursement that came from him. And I don't know, I believe Paul is still in this meeting, but Paul as well has donated funds in the past out of his own pocket also. And then I know for a fact that Andy and Rose and probably Cindy and myself have donated funds. That's a very good point. I don't know the other people in this meeting, but I'm sure everybody at some point in time has donated and not expected anything in return.
Well, there's a little bit of a difference, though, between donating and then being the person who has to go to the grocery store and, like, figure out how to buy, you know, enough potatoes to feed 200 people with their own money.
Yeah.
I try to have my events pay for themselves. Most, but not all of them, have been able to do that.
Well, we're thankful for what you do, obviously. All right. So for the Westmarch Square account, I would like us to have a discussion, which will probably have to be next month. We need to find out, should we do, and tell me if I'm wrong here, this might be a Kapora amendment. We can't use personal PayPals and personal Square accounts for Kingdom level events. We should be using the Kingdom Westmarch and PayPal account to accept all funds. Does that seem reasonable?
It seems reasonable. I don't believe the Kapora says anything about it at all, but
it doesn't. We would need to do an amendment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that amendment, but we have to make that process accessible to autocrats before we change the Kapora.
That's fair.
As a second question, instead of paying for stuff for the event through PayPal, would it be worth it to maybe look into getting a corporate credit card for like buying stuff for events?
I think more along the lines of accepting payments at the gate and for people paying for event tickets to Feast of Gods and for Dark Shore.
Well, that makes sense for like the incoming, but if we had like a credit card for Westmarch that people could, you know, buy things specifically for the events and then, you know, submit like their validation when they get reimbursement from Westmarch for it or whatever.
But if folks are using a West March credit card, then they wouldn't need to be reimbursed.
Yeah, like they wouldn't need to be reimbursed. The Westmark would just pay off the credit card, but they'd still like submit paperwork showing why they spent stuff or whatever.
Wells Fargo should give us a card. Like our accounts would have a card somewhere if we asked for it. That it would just have to be so heavily regulated. Who's going to get the card? You know, that sort of thing.
They gave myself and Andy cards, but they're in our name. And then whoever takes over as TM the next time gets a card in their name as well. So we don't have it to like West March. It has to be a person.
Yeah, that's a rough go right there.
I was just thinking if we were using like a credit card, we could get like that like 2% cash back or whatever when we bought stuff for events. And, you know, if we paid it off immediately, actually make money instead of having like 3% taken out because we spent money through PayPal.
I think it just gets weird because of all the percentages within the corpora that like you can only pull so much out as the Monarch and the PM and so on and so forth throughout the year. I think it would get a little bit messy if we started to give that credit card to autocrats. But it's definitely something we could think about.
I mean, don't we have to approve or do like a all thing to approve funds for events anyway? Is that something that we're supposed to be doing?
Yes, we are supposed to. The board of directors is supposed to review all charges and approve or deny them. Unfortunately, with Darkshore, it kind of got thrust at us at the last minute, and so we just had to approve it. And that's why we started discussing like you can't request funds less than 30 days in advance moving forward. And I think that's something we really need to start putting our foot down on.
Ita, you're collecting a events running group. What kind of how would things work well for that?
Sorry, I was distracted. What are we discussing?
Sure. So when an event runner goes and has to make purchases and takes money in and sends money out, what functions would an event need for working with that money? How does it work well to get money and then give money back?
So I can tell you what we've done.
Okay.
And what we've done is Feastocrats, for the most part, have put out their own money and gotten repaid, which is a little crazy because it's a steep amount of money. I've always been able to repay my Feastocrats. And then by the time it gets closer to the event, usually the monarchy will give the autocrat in cash or into their PayPal, their personal PayPal, a specific amount of money that they're allotted to run the event.
And
I know we've done the same thing as Warocrat, where we paid for it ourselves and then just got reimbursed after.
And that's based off the bid that is done by the autocrat team in the beginning, right?
Yeah. When I construct a bid, I always construct a bid to come in under. I always construct a bid so that I'll know if I need a little bit more, the money's there.
Sure.
But the Demos taught me like the economics of events, and he always told me that you don't need to make a profit. Your job is to break even. So that's always been my goal.
Absolutely. Breaking a profit is gravy. You don't have to, as long as you break even, you're good. That's absolutely
well. A lot of the events that were making a lot of profit, they had like most of the meals donated by people and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Damos taught me like I would rather break even on an event and have an event that's able to pay its bills than to make a profit because a bunch of people donated things.
So here's the other thing that I would point out right now. The way that our bank accounts are structured and set up, we actually have separate accounts for Feast of Mars and Darkshore. Like each of those is a separate account. We could potentially get a card for each of those for use for the event expenses.
Their savings account.
Oh, yeah, they are. You're right.
They have a withdrawal limit per month.
Right, like 6 transactions or something.
Yeah, something like that to prevent,
Using it as a checking account.
Yeah. Well,
Is it possible that we should look into changing those to checking accounts, seeing as events happen every 6 months and the entire point of having those funds is so that it should be available for the eventocrats instead of having them pay for stuff out of their own bank account?
But then we won't earn the 89 cents per month in interest. I'm just kidding.
So
I think being able to hand the Feastocrat a card to be able to front the food would be very useful.
I think if we give a card to Kratz, it also, and this is just play devil's advocate, if we give cards to Kratz, it will encourage them to spend more. I am old school. I am old school, and you submit to me your receipts, and that is what we will reimburse you, no more, no less. That's what I would prefer, but that completely is the opposite of convenience, obviously. I'm cognizant of that.
Which is more than just a convenient issue. Like a person who is a regular person having to foot like the bill for an entire event's food is a lot of an ask. And then, yeah, they get reimbursed, but like, do they have that money in their account?
Well, they can submit a bid saying, I need this much money, and it can be approved, but it has to be done in advance.
I think an autocrat is a position of trust, and I think once you select an autocrat, I think you have to trust them with the amount that is in their bid. I'm not going
to disagree with Paul on that one. That makes sense. That's fair.
I am hesitant to do a card that's directly tied to the account, but if there was an alternative to transfer to a preloaded card that we could give to them, I would be down for that.
A preloaded card should work just the same. And it could have the specific limit of this is how much you guys get to spend for the event. If you fucking waste it all and have to come to me and ask for more, then we're going to have a discussion.
Yeah.
Additionally, banning them from the event.
Yeah. Additionally, moving from having them, pay for stuff themselves and then submit receipts, if they're making a bid where they list an amount of money that they need, why aren't they being given that amount of money out of the bank accounts that are specifically for that purpose?
If they submit a proposal that's been approved, then I'm fine giving them the money, but it has to be reviewed in advance, and it has to be approved, and it has to have eyes on it, and it has to be public, like all of that.
And all of that is already done. That's like the bid that is originally submitted, but they're not given any money off of it.
I imagine that the fear is that if you give people the money in advance and they don't spend it all.
Yeah. And I didn't see a bid for Darkshore. We didn't get one. And maybe they submitted it in December of 2022, but we certainly didn't see it.
There is a ledger that you have to show every dollar that was spent.
I haven't seen one for Darkshore.
I didn't run this Darkshore.
I will stitch the videos together.
Sounds good.
We have the technology.
Hey, when we cut out, Ariana was just talking. Would you be able to repeat what you said, Ariana?
Yeah, I was just saying how there's always the concern that if you give folks money in advance that they might, obviously they're not going to spend it all. And then any of that leftover money there might be issues trying to get it back into the original account kind of thing. I agree with Paul. Typically you should have some kind of ledger system. I know we did at the Dark Shore that I was a part of. I know every time I did a local land event, we always had a ledger that kept track of exactly how much money was spent. But it always gets complicated. So I think I like the preloaded card concept. That seems interesting.
Per corpora, you have 30 days to settle it out. You have to show the monarchy dollar for dollar what you spent.
Okay.
If monarchies aren't enforcing that, then they're outside of the corpora.
Funds.
Isn't there a system from the Wells Fargo Bank where if something was spent, you get a text from the computer system saying there was something spent for this amount?
That
X,
is
Y,
a
and
thing
Z.
that you can turn on for your bank account. I get text alerts anytime money's spent because my accounts have been hacked a few times.
Okay.
So perhaps someone as an officer would have that.
You guys, I want to bring up Article 7, Section 2, West March events. The West March Prime Minister will disperse funds upon receipt of invoices or receipts. I would like to add a subclause to that, but invoices isn't proposals. Should we be waiting for actual payments to reimburse or no? Did I lose everybody again? I sure hope not. Is anybody here? Hello?
Either you be comfortable
Yeah.
with the thing and,
Is Milan back on? Is Brian back on?
Yes, I am. I just restarted my computer. I have no idea what's going on. I'm very sorry.
No problem.
ISP?
I just have one last thing I needed to ask the BoD about. We had a charge that, or somebody had sent money to the West March PayPal account, and they told me that they got hacked and that money was not intended to go to West March. So I just needed to check with the BoD if it's okay for me to send that money back to them. It went into some kind of mitigation with PayPal, saying that it was fraudulent. I know Kaya responded back to them, but I just wanted to check with the BoD, like, what do we feel about that? Like, it was Azuz's wife, I guess.
I spoke with Cindy about this and I looked into it myself. I encourage everybody to look into it themselves as well, but I do support it. In my opinion, it looks like a real error and PayPal even froze the funds. I think it's something we should approve.
I have no reason why it shouldn't be. I've gotten a refund before because I accidentally sent too much money. So I don't see why
the part that
refund
gave me,
for
the part that gave me pause was that it was reported as fraudulent. So I was like worried about sending it back to them. Like, is that going to impact our PayPal account negatively if I send it back to them? So that's why I was like, I was not sure.
Oh, I think we're good.
Okay, I will send it back. Thank you. That's all I have. I have to leave.
All right.
Thank you.
For that.
I'll be available on text. Thanks.
All right. I have a motion to strike the funds movement only because that was something I was going to discuss with Cindy. Motion to strike that until July.
Seconded.
Thank you. The funds movement is in the Wells Fargo bank account. If we don't keep certain amounts of funding within certain accounts, then we get charged. And for fees in 2022, according to the brief conversation that I was able to have with Cindy, let me pull this up, and I apologize for the delay. We paid $500 in fees in 2022, and we have paid $275 in fees for 2023. That is a rough estimate. That is why we started talking about the Square accounts and potentially moving around funds for Dark Shore and West March in general, so we don't get these monthly charges. We'll talk about that more in July.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, every month we're getting hit between $12 to $18 in the Wells Fargo account because we're keeping a balance below below $5,000, and that's because the funds are in the Feast of the Gods account and the other funds are in this other account. Please know that this is information that Cindy will know better than me. I'm just giving a brief update. Chicken found a fundraising opportunity. What's that?
I was just going to ask if there was any Kapora reason for having two accounts instead of just having one that pays into both.
No, I have not seen it. Can everybody see this right here? Balances?
Yeah. You're still showing the itinerary to me.
All right. New share. Yeah. All right. Can everybody see the balances now?
Yep.
These are all the different accounts that we have. This is all the funds that we have. I'm showing these on purpose because I'm sick of people not knowing. This is going to be public. I don't care. We need to make sure that one of these accounts has the proper amount of money. It looks like Cindy may have moved stuff. So it's possible this has been resolved, but we're going to wait for her to talk about that. And sadly, it's going to have to be next month or maybe a conversation we'll have on Discord.
I have BOD president. There's a hand raised in the office.
Oh, great. Yes, please talk away. I'm very sorry for that, Imran.
It's okay. It's Josiah from Dark Shore, if anyone's unfamiliar. I had a question regarding Borehaven's entry into the kingdom. We have been in talks about it. Some members of the former monarchy have been considering it, and we weren't sure if that was if it was going to be an all thing or in any of the meeting future agendas.
That would be an all things. So you'd have to take it up with the monarch. We just do the afterward paperwork.
Okay, I just wasn't sure.
Would you be okay saying a few things right now? We just we're closing out the opportunity for fundraising for by Chicken because he is not here. So yes, let's please put in Borehaven. And what I would like, if you are okay with it, is to tell us what the intentions are, and this will be reported directly to the monarch, and that way we can have them connect directly with you. Would that be okay?
Sure. I'm just the messenger.
Yep. Borehaven messenger statement.
So there has been talks between the Prime Minister and a couple other members of Borehaven. Asmodeus, and I believe he's known as Barbosa now. He changes his character multiple times. But they have been talking about incorporating Borehaven into the Kingdom of Westmarch. The only concerns we have is paperwork, as either, and we've started doing park days and AMS days. We just weren't sure if we continue as a freehold, or if we can be able to have our entry into the monarchy.
Honestly, that's going to be a discussion that your local level monarchy is going to need to have. Westmarch, if you have the numbers, are going to want you to become a member as long as your park isn't directly pulling from another park. How close is the nearest Westmarch Park to Borehaven, if you don't mind me asking?
So Borehaven is located in King City. The same events where Dark Shore and Feast of the Gods.
Of course.
So
there you are.
At least an hour, I'd say.
Yeah.
So not only are you in the park, you're in Monterey County, where we don't have as large of a presence as we would like. I would think we would be enthralled if you would want to recruit in that area for us.
Actually, sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Some of the members are located in the central Valley or the Tulare County area. In the city of Porterville, that's where our Prime Minister, me, and a couple other members are located in, which is kind of a confusing thing because we have members in King City and as well as members here in the city of Porterville, which is kind of confusing because we don't know how that would work because that would also mean we would have to merge our park days into King City, and that's kind of a drive from the Central Valley. How would that go about?
You shouldn't have to like change anything just because you move from a freehold to a shire. For instance, SG Sirigata, we have members that live in the city of Oceanside, members that live in the city of San Diego, members that live in the city of San Marcos, the city of Vista, city of Carlsbad, city
Ramona.
of Del Mar. Like some of our members travel a pretty long way to get in. Wherever you normally meet, you can meet. If you have like fighter practices that are in a different area, our main park's inside, but we have a weekly fighter practice in San Marcos. You know, location, you can have your locations wherever you have them now. Becoming a shire won't change that.
Okay. And
in fact, it's only going to give more support. We have two different kingdom level people, champions that constantly visit other people's parks. If you're a part of West March, you will be visited.
Tell you what, just from my knowledge, the biggest thing that's going to change for you is, this is a thing to think about. When people pay dues, it'll be $10 for 6 months, and then $5 that will go to the kingdom. That's going to be the biggest change for you if you join the kingdom.
Is having to pay $10 for dues.
Yeah, like I think is the freehold corpora still $6? I don't even know anymore.
To be fair, that's only if you want to be dues paid to the kingdom. If you don't care about that, then you don't have to do that.
I think what would probably happen is the biggest question that the kingdom's going to have is, are you folks having regular park days in King City, or are folks in Porterville not making the commute, and how many people are actually meeting in King City? So if that's the case, why are you making the park in King City if people aren't actually meeting there? I think that would just be what folks would want to know. But if you all are meeting regularly, and when I say regularly, it doesn't necessarily mean every week, but every other week or so on, I don't think anyone's going to have any questions about where you decide to put your park.
No.
So
absolutely not.
To answer that question, the King City members meet up every Sunday. The Porterville members, including me, we meet up every Monday and Friday. Lately, the weather has been really hot lately, so we have been doing mostly ANS and less fire practices due to the heat and all that. So as long as those count, and as long as we're doing it correctly and all that, I think that's all that matters to us.
My advice for you for that, if you are making a bid, is make sure to sign your members in as color at Arts and Science Nights, because those do count as meeting nights. They just don't count as fighting nights. So you would all still be able to get a credit, which would enable you to count as having, participated in Amp Guard. You just won't be able to sign in as a class or as a warrior because nothing took place.
More parks need to have more ANS nights. That's how you grow a park. You can double your numbers with ANS nights.
I think that would be great because most people, instead of wanting to fight, they would be more interested in crafting and all that. I think that would help get vendors to join parks and all that, I think, in my opinion.
In the past, Thor's Refuge has had rain days, windy days, and I'm sure everyone's had this fire and smoke days. We've gone to local comic book shops and done board games there. Just an idea to bring your people together and keep the motivation up.
Well stated.
As long as it's officially supported by your monarchy, it can count as an official park meetup. You just can't get class or fighter credit for it if fighting didn't happen.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. It's just as a member of Warhaven, we've been curious on joining, and we had some concerns, and we just weren't sure if we. I just wanted to address those concerns with you guys before I go back to where I what's the word?
Please tell your circle of leadership that your request to join Westmarch will probably be met with open arms. Explain that if anybody wants to be a dues paid member of Westmarch, it's going to cost $10, 5 of which will stay with you, 5 which will go to the Prime Minister of Westmarch. That's usually the biggest hurdle. Other than that, if you guys want to be part of the kingdom, chances are you're going to be received well, as long as the logistics all meet together.
Okay.
And if you guys are like needing to grow your funds and stuff, and Westmarch isn't particularly having anything you want to vote on, you can legitimately just not pay dues and just, donate to your park instead until you guys get more financially stable.
I think that's what we're probably going to be doing for now, is just donating to the park. And
loaner weapons, maybe some tents, maybe some chairs, a banner, a link tree. Absolutely.
Also, feel free to jump on the Westmarch board and let people know if you need anything, because people are usually pretty good at helping out new.
I actually don't have access to the board of directors.
The Westmarch Discord or the Westmarch Facebook page.
Yeah, just like the regular social media Westmarchy things, not even like the hierarchy and offices or anything, but a lot of times when a park starts in an area that is close to other parks, people will make them stuff and send it to them.
Okay.
I'm dropping a Discord invite and the Facebook page into the chat for this meeting.
I'm actually in that.
Okay.
So I'm actually in the Discord, both the Discord and the Facebook.
Perfect. Well, Borehaven, thank you very much for coming to our board of directors meeting. You are always welcome to join and voice your opinion. We try and be as an inclusive as possible group.
Okay.
So thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss while you have the floor?
No, I just wanted to make that quick statement as the messenger for Borehaven.
It will be reported to Lady Ka'a, the Queen of Westmarch at the moment. So yes, that will be reported.
That's pronounced Kaya. I know it's not clear, but I don't think it's Ka'a.
Thank you, Paul.
Good luck, Borehaven. Good luck.
Absolutely, Borehaven. We've sent messages to AmpGuard International over the past couple of months. We haven't gotten a full response yet on the funding that we paid to them from 2017 to 2022. I followed up today before our meeting. I had last messaged them on May 31st, so we are still waiting for a response. We can't rush them. It'll eventually come.
Do you want me to ask them when I'm at the Circle of Monarchs meeting? They'll
yes.
invariably be there.
Can you say, please reply to the GoRam email?
We'll talk details offline to make sure I know who you're talking to, etc.
Thank you. All right. County of Monterey update. The Krats who are in charge of Feast of the Gods looked into the donation of time in exchange for site fee rentals, and they felt that it was insurmountable. It ended up being about 136 volunteer hours to be able to retain the site. And I broke that down to 26 to 30 people donating 8 hours. And they said, we just don't have enough people that live in the King City area to really come out there for a day and do work. And so it's an ongoing...
Even if we got half that, wouldn't the site be half off, or is it all or nothing?
Because I was unable to get in contact with the County of Monterey, I didn't want to step on the toes of the Kratz. I don't have that information, but that is a great question.
I remember hearing that it was all or nothing. I can't give you full. I'm not a full crap, but I am a partial crap under Blood Wolf, and they were voicing that frustration that that it was like all or nothing.
I think in the future we will be able to plan something and maybe have stronger conversations with the County of Monterey. But I like that this exists, and hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of it one day. Paul, you've been doing some great fighting. We've been watching you. The board of directors has access to the Google BoD folder drive. And so let me pull that up really quick. Sorry for the delay. I'm going to change the screen, and we're going to share this one. All right. Can everybody see the Google Drive folder? So,
Champion confirms.
Down here, we have 2017, 2018, 2019. You get the idea. But all the BoD documents from back in the day, we now have access to. I have not gone through them yet. So I'm going to randomly click 2015, tax filings. Here's a meeting. So what I'm alluding to is that moving forward, thanks to Kaya, Lady Kaya, Queen of West March, the board of directors will have access to the board of directors, the West March Amp Guard Gmail BoD folder drive. So we now have a presence, and this is a place that we can save without being concerned about security or the documents going away. We pay for I can't remember what it was. It's like 100 to 200 gigabytes, and I apologize for not remembering. Lady Kaya would know this as well. But we pay $20 a year for the Google Drive extra storage. So we have 15 gigabytes allotted to here, but we can get more if we need. So if there's anything that anybody wants in Google Drive, we now, as a BoD, have access to it. We can't give it to everybody, unfortunately. I don't know the full details why, but myself and the Prime Minister have access. So if you need something, please feel free to reach out.
Sure.
All right, back to that itinerary. We're mowing through these now. All right, should we have a bilingual flyer and waiver update? We are going to strike that until Jose Chavez is back. I apologize for dumping on him. I do not have an AMP Wiki update. For anybody who's curious, we are still working on making the AMP Wiki be a home to all the documents. And by that, I mean direct links to like how to do the SOP, where all the BoD minutes are, where the Corpora is, how to change the Wells Fargo account members. Cindy was kind enough to put together an SOP. I just haven't put it here. See the beginning of the meeting for reasons why. And this is a work in progress, and hopefully future BODs will never have issues finding things. All right, back to the itinerary. Ledger public record update. I showed the ledger. I'm going to be showing it every BOD meeting until somebody tells me to stop. I'm going to request that we constantly audit everything, which will make the treasurer super happy, I'm sure. Andy, do you have any concerns about any of that?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't have a problem showing balances. Some of the ledger entries might be secret for a certain amount of time, mostly entirely because,
Awards.
Well, the last one was because we paid someone for an award and the person hadn't gotten the award yet.
Of course, yes. And I think I think just showing the balances is important. And if we have to redact something off a ledger just by taking away what it is, I think that's fair.
Sure.
But I want to eventually host some type of public ledger so people go, how much money do we really have? And boom, it's right there. Park numbers.
I think it could be useful to, this may be skipping down a couple items, but when the Scribe does their quarterly newsletter, it might be a grand thing to post things like that in there.
Beauty. Well, I know that Jay has been busy. Jay has been very busy in real life. We expect that they will be decided to work on something in the future, but nobody's going to rush them.
Sure.
Awesome. Park number follow-ups. We're going to have to ask Kaya about that. There was the discussion previously about parks not meeting certain numbers, with James stepping down after serving longer than he wanted to and should have, of course, although he did his tasks admirably and is stepping up again in August because he can't get enough of us. We're going to have to wait for Kaya to make a decision on that, so we can't do anything there. Rose, do we have an update on digital waivers?
Yes, so I chose one to recommend to the Kingdom, which is what we're going to go for. It's a smart waiver. Not only did it seem from my comparison to have the best money for value option, but I also went to a few businesses that I knew did waivers and asked them what waiver they did, and it was Smart Waiver. I went to 3 different places. One of them is a bounce land at Carlsbad Strawberry Fields. And then the other 2 were escape rooms. And they all had very nice things to say about Smart Waiver, said that it's very easy to use, very easy to pull up waivers. The storage is very efficient. They have good customer service. The only comment I got that was all negative is the Bounce Land one that has roughly hundreds of people going a day sometimes bump up against the 10,000 waiver limit that they have for their purchase. But I don't think that'll be a problem for West March. So I can drop the link to that in the comment section if you guys want.
How much does Smart Waiver cost a month, and how much does Smart Waiver cost a year?
So they have several different options.
What do you recommend?
Their very basic one is $19 a month for 100 signed waivers. Then they have $37 a month for 200 signed waivers, $55 for 300, $105 for 600, and $155 for 1,000. Plus they have special pricing for one-time events, which is something that would probably be good for us to have access to, seeing as stuff like Dark Shore and, Feast of whatever's. We might look into having people sign waivers when going to that specifically for it. The nice thing about Smart Waiver also, though, is if you need to, you can change what type of plan you have month to month.
Love it.
So like one of the things we were talking about was the initial, start period. If we have everyone in West March fill out a new waiver, we might, have several hundred people. But then after that, we should, come down quite a bit to only needing like maybe 100 to 200 waivers, if that, going forward. And Smart Waiver makes that really easy because we could do that. They also have a free trial period that we could maybe take super advantage of and have everybody sign a waiver during, and then be able to get the lower price going forward after that. So
$444 a year is $37 a month. That is less than 1 month of Monarchy discretionary spending. So That's huge. Does Smart Waiver save the waivers for a indefinite or definite period of time?
I'm not entirely sure with that, but they also have, let me look at where it's listed, how they say it.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I just want to let you know my phone is below 5%, which means it's going to turn off any moment.
Okay.
You're okay, Paul. You're good. Thank you for being here.
Bye,
All right,
Esau.
guys. Talk to you later.
So they have Waiver Sync, which is you can set up Smart Waiver to automatically send copies of your signed Smart Waivers to your local hard drive.
Love it. Love it. We could, at some point in time, we could drop $70 and buy a 2 terabyte hard drive just for waivers if we really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Rose, that's awesome. Do you want to put together a proposal to present to the monarchy, or would you like somebody else to put it together?
I'm okay with either way.
I just know you're busy.
Yeah, I am pretty busy. I can do it unless somebody else wants to step up. I know everyone's kind of busy, so there's that.
Let me see if I can do it.
Is that thing just not in here?
What?
I'm going to mute Paul. It might be Paul. And if I'm muting Paul by accident, I apologize to Paul. I'll see if I can put together the proposal. Rose, I'll type up something and send it to you over Discord, and that way you can put your final touches on it, and then you can present it.
Okay, sounds good.
Can I ask one quick follow-on question?
Anything, Ethan, go for it.
Is this planned for kingdom level event type things, or is it planned to allow smaller lands to also utilize this as well?
Everyone. So lands would no longer have to keep track of waivers themselves. There would be a QR code that they would be able to have and have people scan and fill out a waiver on their phone. And then the local land would only ever have to think about it if there was some kind of lawsuit and they had to get the signed waiver back. But that would be as easy as emailing whoever in the kingdom keeps track of them, probably the prime minister. And I did talk to the bounce house land about how easy that process was. According to them, it's super easy to find specific waivers and bring them up. They said they have to do that not, constantly, but bounce houses are notorious for injuries, so they, have incidents on a monthly basis and are able to just bring up the waiver and stuff.
Okay. And one other small question is, how does the system behave when it hits its cap? Does it just not allow any more waivers? The idea is we would go back to physical waivers for that day, or does it charge?
My understanding is that the kingdom would get a charge. When I asked the bounce house land, it sounded like they were saying that you basically just get bumped up to paying the higher price that the next level of waivers would be. But I'm not entirely sure with that. I'd have to look at it again.
I think
the only reason I'm thinking is you're doing a recruiting event or something like that at a convention, and just you get a way more walk-ups or something like that than you're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's where you'd have to be proactive and say, hey, we're going to be at Comic-Con or WonderCon or Gen Con, and we might need 100 waivers for ourselves. And we add that to the plan.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the proposal would be we would still have physical waivers if we needed to, lack of internet, you're out in the sticks, something. Perfect. Thank you.
So the app is actually supposed to be able to work offline. So if you were out in the sticks, you would be able to still have people sign the waivers. And then when it got to the place where you have internet, you would be able to basically download them or whatever. You would at that point, like if the event was somewhere that there's not going to be access, you'd have to download an app and have people sign the waiver using that device instead of their own phone. But it's a pretty simple waiver. Like the ones the bounce house land and the escape rooms have. It's, a lot of text, and then you check a box, and then you do a little digital signature and hit enter, and, it's pretty fast and easy. And the app is available on both Apple and Android. So even if, like, the event we're having to have, whoever's running gate use a tablet or whatever, or, their phone, it should be doable.
Love it. I think that's great that you finally found something that you're comfortable with, Rose. And the fact that you can do it offline is awesome. And if we can just have them do it on their own mobiles and then show the screen that says, look, I did it, we're going to have to make sure that we confirm that they did it. Then no papers. We don't have a pile of papers sitting in somebody's living room for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Feels like a very personal attack.
Trying to be supportive.
Hey, you can take it that way, Andy, or you could take it as that big black box full of waivers from God knows when. We could just finally throw that away.
Look, I need a man.
I love it. Okay. From May, I put together how to trademark a logo in California. For the uninitiated, I'm going to run through this. West March, the logo and the name are not trademarked. So people could bogart, for lack of a better phrase, the trademark. It turns out that for 5 years, you can register a trademark in the state of California, which I think is enough. We don't need to do the federal trademark. And then $30 for a renewal. So $100 for 10 years trademarks the West March account. Is this unnecessary spending? Probably. Is this a small enough amount to ensure that we really never have any issues? $10 a year, basically? I believe so. The one concern about how we would do this is what will happen if someone sues me for trademark infringement. So let's say Paul does what Paul does, and he creates a West March banner that has the West March name and the West March logo, and below it puts a terrible slur, and then chooses to put it on T-shirts, and then sells them to everybody. We can go after that individual for trademark infringement. The first thing you would do is you would solicit them via written hand and say, hey, if you don't stop this, we're going to sue you. Well, I found out how you would do it, and you would file a civil action in state court, which could potentially be pushed to federal court. Please stop me if this becomes boring. It can be pushed to federal court if it's a big enough case. Filing a civil action costs money. It doesn't cost a ton of money. And in many cases, not all, I'm not a lawyer. Is Ariana still in here? She is. Ariana, do you know anything about civil actions?
Not enough to speak on
That's
it.
okay. That's completely fine. Filing a civil action is a fee. Apologize for the delay. I had this pulled up, but I had to. The fee for filing in small claims court depends upon the amount of the claim. $30 if the claim is for $1,500 or less. $75 if the claim is for more than $5,000. So, a civil action, such as small claims court, in the state of California is very small. So, hypothetically, if we wanted $10 a year, trademarks the West March logo. And I think that's a good idea. I'm going to present this to the monarchy and say, hey, we should do this, and let them decide. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say about that before we move on to something else?
I second that you should do that.
There we go. Thank you, Sir Scoop. All right. The 501c3, I just don't have an update for yet. I blame myself for being lazy. The scribe update, Jay is not here. We're going to move past that one as well. Now, Lady Kaya, Queen of Westmarch, wants to encourage people to participate in the BOD and the monarchy. We cannot come at it this way. Hey, everybody that's in this meeting, I want you to find somebody to take your place. Chris, I want you to find the next champion of Westmarch. Andy, I want you to find your replacement on the board of directors. Rose, same thing. Dagger, find the rules representative to replace you. That we don't want to do that. We don't want to add a task that doesn't become enjoyable. Instead, I encourage everybody, and by I mean Lady Kaya. Lady Kaya encourages everybody to find somebody and encourage them to participate in a future meeting. So find somebody who's interested and encourage them to just participate by sitting in on a meeting and seeing what we do. And if an individual is interested, then they will take the onus of potentially pursuing interacting with us. Basically, if Andy, I'm going to pick on Andy, if Andy decides he doesn't want to do this in December, then there's going to be a scramble to replace Andy. And if we get people who want to be part of this, then it's going to be easier to fill the positions. We're going to get more conversations, which means we're going to get more good ideas, which we're going to get more positive changes. So, Lady Kaya, I'm going to pull up her message, and I apologize for not having it pulled up. Again, I had to restart my computer. Oh, goodness. I hate Facebook. Why don't people use Discord like adults? Did I say that out loud?
I'm going to, again, jump in here real fast. One of the biggest reasons for me, I've been trying to get to a BOD meeting for almost a year. Facebook makes it almost impossible to find the link the day of. And so then I just end up giving up and going home.
Use Discord, my friend, please.
We have thousands of posts in the Westmarch Discord, and I never remember which channel it's in. And then I give up and go home.
BOD channel.
There's a BOD channel?
There is.
Yes. And
in fairness, though, maybe next time we should pin the current meeting message.
I will do
Discord.
that. Ethan, please feel free to find me on Facebook. I'll put my name in the chat, and I will add you to my list of people I message for the BOD meetings if you want. You never have to show up, but if you want to, I will always ping you for as long as I'm...
Where's the BOD channel?
It's under... Hang on, let me pull it up.
Question.
It's under Feast Hall.
How hard would it be to either post the link in CA AmpGuard each week or on the wiki? Or each month?
I will post it on the wiki every month moving forward, because otherwise I have to message Azus and ask Azus to do it, which is fine. I could put it in the forums, of course, as well, but I'm going to put it on the wiki because I like the wiki.
Okay, so going forward, you can go to the AMP wiki to find the Zoom link and not have to worry about social media at all.
I will also post it on all social media, but yes, AMP wiki as well.
Sebastian, how did you get that very, very succinct Facebook URL?
Oh, you mean mine?
Yeah.
Sign up for Facebook when you'd still required a college email address.
I mean, just so everybody knows, his Facebook URL is facebook.com/Kopich.
Just my last name.
There you go. That's OG.
Yeah, that's like a 2006 sign up for Facebook type thing.
Wild.
All right, this is from Lady Kaya, the BOD Education Drive. Each member is encouraged to mentor and bring a recruit to the meetings. At the start of the meetings, BOD members are to introduce their recruits. Recruits will say what they are hoping to learn from the meeting. At the end of the meeting, the BOD will give out a gift card for one recruit that is still there at the end and one gift card to a member that brought a recruit. Recruits must be there for the entire meeting. Gift cards are redacted until the next meeting. BOD members that stay for the entire meeting can earn 1 color credit per meeting, and I am to report to Lady Kaya the individuals. So for people who want color credit, let me know. And for people that want to bring a member to the meeting, you may receive fabulous prizes that may include international travel,
But probably won't.
but probably won't. That is it.
Go into effect because Brian, I think you brought me.
Who said that? Oh, I did. I brought Dagger. What? Yeah.
I think you brought Bear Bear too.
I'm fairly confident. If I'm gonna message Lady Kaya right now.
I was in the neighborhood.
Dagger
I brought
and Chris.
Andy, Yvonne, and Chicken.
BoD meeting in June, and may like gift cards. Dagger and Chris Cipolla win this week.
Woohoo! Chicken
There you
dinner.
go. What's that?
I said, woohoo! Chicken dinner.
That's
Is
right.
That why,
That's right.
Is that why Alonso Chavez is not here?
Ah, wow.
Oh, shoot. Turn the fryer off.
All right. Does anybody have anything that we should add for July? That's okay if we don't. If you have things you would like to add in July, please go ahead and message me via Discord or Facebook or throw a rock. Doesn't matter.
I'd like to actually make sure and add adjourning the July meeting to the beginning of the July agenda.
There you go.
Perfect.
Beautiful. All right. So is everybody okay with Tuesdays? Is there anybody that just hates Tuesdays at this point in time?
Tuesdays
it's
are fine
okay.
with me.
How about
They work for me.
How about Tuesday, July 18th at 6 p.m.?
Works for me.
You said
right.
July 15th?
18th.
18th. I was like, I'm not sure that is a Tuesday. Okay.
Subject to change, but we are at less than an hour and a half, guys. Congratulations. Went longer than I thought it would. Andy Brown.
Yes.
I've been picking on you all meeting, so I will give you the honor of doing the next topic.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded.
There
Boom.
we go. Well, thank you, people. I appreciate it very much. I am going to stop the recording right now. Thank you all for being here, especially Borehaven. That was very kind of you for coming out. And thank you for the